One take. Here we go.
Hello.
What's happening?
Can you hear us?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up?
What's going on? Can you hear
How's
us?
it going,
We all
folks?
sound good?
Does
Yeah,
this mic
yeah,
sound
yeah.
all right?
Yeah, what's up? How's it going?
Awesome.
We're doing great. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. So introduce me around the room there.
For sure. So my name's Xavier.
My name's Ian.
What's up, Xavier? Hold on,
And
what was your
David the
name?
Funky Ho Bean.
David the Funky Hobing. And what was your name in the middle?
My name's Ian.
Ian. Okay. Ian, David, and Xavier. All right. Nice to meet you guys. David the Funky Hobing. Okay.
And you are
What's going on?
not too much. And you are obviously Muck Sticky in the flesh. How's it going?
Yeah. Nice to meet you guys. It's a pleasure. My honor.
Digitally in the flesh.
I like the hats on the wall back. Is that hats?
Oh yeah, that's my collection. I put on my craziest one today, the coolest looking one. But yeah,
Pretty
I had to
fresh
add a whole
collection
second
there,
row.
fella.
What's going on?
I said that's a pretty fresh collection you got going
Oh
on
yeah,
there,
I
buddy.
might have to add another row if I keep finding ones I like.
Yeah, man. Pretty soon you'll have a whole room just dedicated to hats.
This is the hat room.
The hat room.
So how's
Not the bat
quarantine
room,
been
the
for
hat
you?
room. Man, it's been all right. I've been it's not I stay kind of cooped up in the studio most of the time anyway, so it's not really been too much out of the ordinary for me, except that I just I went out even less than I did before.
Just staying home with a little bit of the something something.
No big deal, you know what I'm saying? I keep it groovy, man. I'm one of those guys, man. I just enjoy the experience of life, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, we all live together, so luckily we're able to keep each other company, and hasn't been too bad. But it's been almost 100 days now. It's been it's been
Crazy. Where are
there.
you guys from?
From Illinois.
Illinois. What?
Champaign.
Champaign, Illinois. Champaign. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I've been there. What's the hold on, let me think of what's the venue there. Not the Canopy Club, but the
Canopy Club.
That's here
Is
too.
it the Canopy Club?
That is here, yeah.
All right. Cool.
Oh, you've been okay. You've been there? Nice.
Yep, been there
Awesome.
quite a few times.
Oh, awesome, yeah. Dang, yeah, next time you're around, if you ever make it back this way, let us know. We definitely chill out a little bit. But yeah, so I got a couple random questions here. We can just talk about whatever though. But yeah, so I just wanted to say how I found you. I was probably oh geez, what would it have been? I would have been in
So is this, hold on, excuse me, interrupt for just a
No,
second.
for
Is this the interview or is this the pre-interview?
I mean,
we straight into it.
We're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling.
All
I'm
right,
recording
cool.
now. Yeah.
All right, just want to make sure.
It's casual. It's
I treat life as
conversation.
it's always an interview, but just
Right,
wanted to
yeah.
know.
But yeah, very casual. But yeah, so just how I found you was I think I was about to go into high school, and my cousin Liam was just like, "You got to hear this song, Thingy Thing." And me and my cousin Kevin were like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, this guy Muck Sticky, he's got this song called the Thingy Thing, and then the Icky, what is it, Icky Muck?"
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Those were the first two he showed us, and we were just like,
Okay.
what? It was just so different than whatever we were listening to at the time, that it was like,
Oh.
what is this? We gotta check this out a little bit more. So yeah, I just remember playing it on our friends' subs, driving around little town of Paxton, and just blaring some of your goofy tunes, and just living in the moment with it.
Guilty as charged. Yeah. That's cool. What was your buddy's name?
So my cousin that showed it to me was Liam, and he showed me and my cousin Kevin, and then we just went off and showed our whole groups of friends.
Shout out to Liam. For spreading the good vibes.
Yeah, I actually haven't told him that I'm doing this, so I'm gonna hit him up in a few days when this is ready to post, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, you remember Muck Sticky?" And I'm sure he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah," and I'm just gonna send him the link to the video and be like, "Yep."
Hell yeah, man, that's cool.
It's
man.
awesome. So then your name, I think you've explained it before, but I'd love to hear just an origin of the name Muck Sticky.
Yeah, for sure. So my best friend back in the day, Dr. Roachcliffe, rest in peace. He we had been friends for, probably like 8 or 9 years, and he got sick with multiple sclerosis.
Damn.
And through a bunch of complications and stuff, he ended up having to have a bunch of surgeries and was just in really bad shape. So we used to sit around picking guitar all the time on the acoustic. And I'd been in this little rock and roll band for a while, and called Burning Couch. And I was sitting around picking the acoustic guitar with my buddy Dennis one day, and we I was just like playing like a John Denver sort of riff, like I grew
Sunshine
up
on my
listening to
goddamn
all
shoulder.
kinds of music. I'm a big fan of multiple genres. In fact, you really can't find much music that I can't find something that I don't enjoy about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was we were hanging out, and I was picking this riff, and I was just like, man, it needs like gangster rap lyrics to it, right? And I'm from Memphis, so I grew up listening to Skinny Pimp and 8-Ball and MJG and 3-6 Mafia and all those dudes, and,
Right.
Tommy Wright III and all those guys. So I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if it was like, and here I got my guitar.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like. And so, and it was on this guitar, actually, by the way.
Awesome.
And,
oh, wow.
So I was just picking that lick, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be like, I was like, oh, and there's this movie, it's called Money Talks. It's a Charlie Sheen and Chris Tucker back in the day. And there's this line in there where he's like, I'm supposed to be all G-Dog on the fly tip and chilling with the homies and blah, blah, blah. And so I was just like, I kind of like took that, like cliche rap and, rap terms. And like, I took that inspiration. And I was just like, homie, don't play that shit. I'm a G-Dog chilling on the fly tip, tossing with my posse, that kind of sort of thing. So anyway, I was like, I wrote this whole song, and I knew right in that moment when I was doing that I was like, man, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. I'm supposed to make silly songs that just somehow make people feel better, because I was making my buddy laugh, and he was really sick, but I was making him laugh. We were having a good time, and it's kind of like he forgot about his illness for a little while, because most of the time he was depressed about it. And so I just thought, man, if music can do that, then that's what I need to be doing.
That's awesome.
And so the name that I wrote that song. So Beck was one of my favorite artists of all time. And in fact, I was listening to Odelay, the album, just a little while ago. I was in the shower. I smoke a joint in the shower in the morning while I listen to a song or listen to an album. And so I was listening to that album this morning. But Beck is my favorite artist. And I was thinking about, I thought, well, I got to give myself like a name, and I was like, I could be just like a one name artist, like Beck or Cher, or, there's tons of one name artists out there. Eminem, people like that. And so I was like, I was just, and Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, was really popular at that time, and he was in his prime. And I watched the show all the time, and he'd always talk about, oh, we're all out here mucking around in the bush, Mike's gonna get out there in the mucky muckin'. And I was like, all right, I like that word, muck. It rhymes with fuck. This is like, 2000-ish, 2001 maybe.
Okay.
And so I thought, I'll just be a one name artist, Muck. And so I got in my car, and I was on my way home from my friend's house from writing that song and realizing that I need to be an artist. And I was driving home, and I happened to have, I had this old Thunderbird, 94 Thunderbird, and had Dr. Dre's The Chronic 2001 tape, because it was 2000. That was like the popular year that tape came out. And, I had that tape in the console, and there's a line in one of the songs where Snoop Dogg's like, some of that real sticky icky icky, ooh wee, put it in the air. And I was like, dude, Sticky, that's a great last name. Muck Sticky, holy cow, that's great, dude. And it just, and then
That's perfect.
That's crazy. So you've been Muck Sticky for 20 years
I
now.
envisioned
Almost.
the image, and it went from there.
Yeah.
What was that?
So you've been Muck Sticky for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, man.
That's
coming
insane.
up on my 20th anniversary here this January of my. I mean, technically this year it is my 20th year. And coming up in January will be like my first live show I ever did.
Okay.
In fact, really, kind of, I was making tapes and CDs. Yeah, I guess this is my 20th year. I was making music a little bit before that, being goofy, but I really didn't call it Muck Sticky. It was just goofing off with some friends, and it just sort of culminated. But so I guess, but January 12th will be the 20th anniversary of my first show ever.
Nice.
And funny enough, it was I don't know if y'all know the rapper Lil White, but he was it was his very
he's in
first
your
show.
movie.
Yeah. He lives here in Memphis. We've been friends for a long time. In fact, it was his first show too.
Oh, wow.
I knew him in the rap group that he was with before he got signed with 3-6 through some friends, and we all hung out together, and they were like, hey, we're playing this Battle of the Bands thing. Do you want to jump on it? And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And so I went, and I won second place that night, and I got called back for the finals, and I got disqualified because, I made all my own songs myself. And so in order to play a live show, I really just had to like take a CD and play, sing along to a track, right? But I took these like guitar stands, and I had this little toy drum kit, this little kid's toy drum kit. And like I set up these little characters with wigs and sunglasses and hats, and I would like put an instrument, like I would hang a guitar. I took this lamp pole, and I may put a wig on top of this, tall corner floor lamp thing, and put a wig on it and some sunglasses, and then I strapped a guitar to it, and so I made my own little band,
Nice.
if you will. And one of the judges disqualified me because she said I wasn't a band, and it was a battle of the bands, and so she gave me all zeros.
That's bogus.
And,
that's bogus.
That's all right.
Yeah, you still made it. You still,
Here I am 15 albums later, still making a career. And she and I are actually, have become friends in the Memphis music community and stuff, and we see each other at events and functions all the time. We're super friendly, so no ill will. It just helped me even realize that I stood further apart, and I just didn't fit in anywhere, and I'm all about people embracing their uniqueness. And so a lot of people, like, it hurts them when things like that happen. Instead, I feel you should embrace it when stuff like that happens and see it as a lesson to somehow grow. And plus it makes for a good story when
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really good story.
Yeah, I've never heard about anyone making a band out of like fake objects.
We know there's like the Chuck E. Cheese band with animatronics.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Funny you should mention that. Okay, so before it was Chuck E. Cheese, it was called Showbiz Pizza Place, and there was an animatronic band in there, which became the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic band, but it was called the Rock-afire Explosion. And you can see them in the band MGMT's music video for Electric Feel.
Oh, okay.
And like, it was like a cultural thing, right? Michael Jackson went and saw the Rock-afire Explosion. It was a huge deal. And so, but anyway, so I'm friends with Andrew from MGMT, And I saw them in his video, and I was like, dude, that would be awesome to have them as my band. So he connected me with the dude that invented that animatronic band, and we became really good friends. And we like tried to work out this deal to where they were going to tour with us and stuff. I mean, we got really close to working it out, and then like some things just fell through. But anyway, if you Google Muck Sticky and the Rock of Fire Explosion, you can see a picture of me, a promo picture that we did of me and the Rock of Fire Explosion all together.
We'll have to find that and drop it in post for everyone to see.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's awesome. That was perfect. That I accidentally said animatronic instead of inanimate.
Animatronic stuff is really cool. The dude is a genius, Aaron Fector. If you like, look him up. He's got a YouTube channel, and like he posts Rock of Fire Explosion videos all the time and stuff. But this dude is a genius, man. A genius. Like he's one of those dudes that's on a whole other level that creates and invents things that you and I just like just blow your mind. Like
some of that tinkering.
I went to his warehouse in Orlando, and it's just like some of the most crazy inventions you've ever seen in your life. It's really cool, dude.
I wrote that down. We're definitely gonna check that out. So then, when did you decide to get the tats? When did you decide that Muck Sticky was permanent enough to rock out that ink?
Oh man, that's funny. Well, the first one I got was the one on the forearm. You don't really see that in a lot of videos, but it's
right,
okay.
I
don't know if you can see that right there, but it's it's a forearm piece. I got that in 2004. Okay. Yeah. Got in 2004 when I officially released my first album, which was a Nifty Marvelous Thrifty. And then in 2005, I got these. I got people would come up to me all the time, or I would be in public somewhere, and I'd see people pointing and whispering. Like people would come up to me, "Hey, you look like somebody I recognize. What's your name?" And so that would happen all the time. And I just decided to put them so people could stop asking. They would see they would just know,
So do you get recognized a decent amount then?
Oh man, it's absolutely bananas. You'd be surprised. I haven't had a ton of mainstream publicity and press, but that's just because I don't pay thousands of dollars a month for a publicist, and I've never sold my soul to a record label. So but the amount of people who are aware of Muck Sticky is pretty humbling. I'm very I'm always surprised when I'm somewhere that I don't imagine and I get recognized. I guess it's just the music video's been around. I kind of came up in the MySpace days. MySpace was like the only social media thing for a while. And you're talking like from like 2004. I was one of the first million people on MySpace. I mean, if you like, my user number was like 962 something or another. It's like I was real hip to that shit. And so I got into MySpace and promoting on there and networking through that, and so that really helped it get out. And that was really when we were first started being able to make our own music videos as independent artists. It usually took a whole lot of money to make videos, and by then cameras were starting to become and editing was becoming affordable enough that you could just make your own stuff.
Right.
And so I was making videos and posting them, and YouTube came along not too long after that. And so I jumped on YouTube and started posting videos there. And it just kind of sort of blossomed. And I guess that's how people, I don't really know the numbers. I don't keep up with them because they change so much. But, the last time one of my folks, we looked it up, and it was like, it's like 50 million something views between all of our stuff. So it's
pretty solid
out there, I guess. So
you said just like how far the reaches went. I was gonna say there's an example of like me and my friends would be listening to you in high school, and we just were thinking like, oh, this is kind of our little thing. No one really, knows who Muck Sticky is necessarily. And then we found that there was like a group of like country kids, and they like would play your music the same way, and it just was like, it just didn't really seem like they would be the ones. They would like have like normal, just like random country songs, and then you'd be like sprinkled in there, and we were like, what? Like, it's just but no, that just showed. Yeah,
It's
awesome.
affirmation that my dream has come true, man. I just I grew up a stoner, listening to stoner music, and wanting to just like make music that anybody could listen to. Really, you don't have to be a stoner, but just most people smoke weed.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I always felt like was important in society, is things that bring us together, our common bonds. You know what I'm saying? Rather than like focusing on our differences, let's focus on the things that bring us together. And for me, it was music and weed. You know what I mean? I met the craziest, most interesting people just by, hearing them play a song or seeing them at a concert and running, saying something about the group we were watching or whatever the case was, and
Yeah.
so I wanted to make music that anybody could listen to. It didn't matter what, where you come from or what you believe in or what you listen to. Mostly you could still listen to Muck Sticky and enjoy it because it was, just this own sort of little thing. And
yeah, it's fun and different.
I feel blessed that I've had the musical path I've had, man. So blessed.
That's awesome. So yeah, like you said, you made the music for anybody because you kind of like all music. Because there's one line, I think, in your song "Me" where it's like, I like every kind of music. I was raised well, and that's just it shows that like
right.
Yeah. No, it definitely shows. Oh yeah. So let's see. What do I got next? Yeah. So your lyrics are definitely as inspirational as they are raunchy sometimes, and I think that's also very memorable for people. That it's just as goofy as it is catchy, and
That's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, no, that's definitely why I think it sticks well. All right. So then, something that I really wanted to ask you about was your Pajama record.
Yeah.
So that's still going, right?
Yeah.
Going strong?
I'm on my phone right now, so I can't Hey Siri. But you got a phone there that does Hey Siri?
Yeah.
All right, put it up to the microphone, or like where you can hear my voice. Hey Siri. Is it popping up? Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Trying to impersonate. You say it. You say, Hey Siri, how many days has it been since July 2nd, 2002?
How many days has it been since July 2nd, 2002? 6,560 days.
There you go. 6560. Okay.
Because I saw your post. I saw your post where you were like, people have been saying that there have been pajamas for 40 days in quarantine, and you're just like, yeah, keep working on that, because
yeah, man, it's a wonderful lifestyle, I must say.
It's comfy.
I've a lot of people don't know the story behind it, but briefly, I've told it in other interviews, but briefly, it's my best friend who I was mentioning earlier, the one that got sick. He passed away June 28th, 2002, and July 1st was the day of his funeral. And so I wore a pair of slacks and like a suit and shit to his funeral, and he by the end of the funeral, they had kind of like just like gotten torn and tattered just from the emotions of the day and like moving. I was a pallbearer, so I was a lot of kneeling and just moving all over the place. And anyway, I just kind of took it as a sign from him that and I was went to a very deep place mentally and emotionally and spiritually. That made me realize that life is too short for you to adorn yourself with garments in order to appease the opinions and minds of others. You know what I'm saying? Or impress them. you know, I just think that's like, so you should express yourself how you feel, if that's how you feel is to dress nicely in suits. Because I mean, I still dress nicely sometimes and have suits, they're colorful, but uh I'm always wearing pajama pants,
Yeah.
and that's part of the thing. Is just like, it's also because it's really comfortable to me. And unless you're paying me, I mean, even most people, like if it's for art, if it's for a movie or something or a music video, I will wear some slacks or something. I had to wear overalls in our movie Dig That Zebo Newton and things like that, but that's for art,
That's
There's
yeah,
pajamas
that's different.
underneath, and when the camera stopped rolling, I'm back in my pajamas.
Right.
It's not like, it's not. So like, I've been to suit and tie events, I've been to black tie tuxedo events where like everybody's in a bow tie and the penguin suit, and
Right.
I'm in my pajamas, and it's just, I have to be that way or I don't go, and
That's awesome.
I don't know, it's a personal statement of also, like, not conforming to society's expectations of what validates you as a decent human being. You don't have to wear fancy clothes to be a good person. You don't have to not smoke weed to be a good person. You don't have to not say cuss words to be a good person.
Yeah.
Being a good person is something like we all understand and connect with, and if you're that, then I'll recognize it, and you're cool in my book, and I'll be cool in your book. Like, that's just, I just think that's more important than the brand names or the clothes that you wear. I mean, you can do those things, and I don't think of you as a bad person either. But I just, I don't know. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Same for me.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be doing it if you want to wear nice stuff because it makes you feel good, not because you're trying to make other people feel good. Yeah, that makes.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
sometimes wearing those super nice things makes people feel good, and I'm all for that. I'm all
right.
for what makes
As
people
long as
feel
you're still
good
good
inside
dude,
themselves.
good chick.
World can be a suck ass, hard, shitty place to be sometimes, and anything that makes life better for as many people as possible, that's what I'm for. And that's why I like what you said about the music being inspirational and raunchy. I feel like, being raunchy makes people laugh and smile.
Yeah.
Because it tickle. Sometimes some people haven't heard those things, or it's taboo for them to say it, and hearing somebody else say it is, funny. And
Yeah.
some things are just funny like that. And if it's funny and it makes you smile and it's not hurting you as an individual and making you, go do bad things in the world, then don't see any problem with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. And yeah, at this rate, you kind of have that record in the bag. I don't think anybody's going to be able to pass that up. So yeah, I think you're kind of good to go.
We've researched it, man. There's like one dude down in Florida that calls himself like the Pajama Man or something, and he has a store where he sells pajamas. But he's only been doing it like 8 or 9 years or something. He's nowhere.
Okay.
Like, I'm more than double, and he doesn't even wear pajamas every day. He's just the Pajama Man. You know
okay.
what I mean?
So yeah, you definitely got him.
Like Hugh Hefner, I don't even think he did. He wore suits a lot too. He wore a lot of pajamas though, so he's kind of like the only He's one of the few people I'll pay homage to. Is like, okay, you're a pajama king before me. I recognize that.
That's awesome.
All due respect, sir. Rest your soul.
Rested in pajamas.
Yeah, rest in pajamas, sir.
So then we watched your movie last night.
Yeah, we did.
Got that.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, it was good. We really liked it. So I was gonna say something. It seemed like your friend, I forget his name in the movie. So was that based off your friend in real life?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense then, because
yeah.
the way that character was written, it felt very close and like personal, and I knew you wrote basically all of that. So yeah, I figured there was maybe something. So when you brought that up, I thought that was, and that's definitely a good way to, kind of pay respects and an immortalized, piece of art that he's able to be represented in.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, man. It's very kind of
Yeah.
you to say. There's a lot of aspects of that movie that are from real life. So of course, a lot are fictitious. Some are just like metaphors for things that happened. It's very that movie was like 10 years in the making before we finally were able to get started on it, and then it was like 12 years of working on it before it was actually made.
Dang.
So it took a long time to get it together. Can't thank the people that were involved in that making that movie enough. They're just had the most tremendous, amazing team, supportive people who bent over backwards to help us get that thing done, came out of pocket and invested their time and effort and heart and soul into it just like we did. And man, I think it really shows how much people came together on that project. I just truly blessed, and thankful for everybody that took part in it.
Because it was very artsy, very homegrown, and you could tell that everybody wanted to be a part of that movie, and that was
those are my favorite kind of movies, man. Like Sling Blade is one of my favorite is my favorite movie of all time. I like Napoleon Dynamite. And I wanted to make a movie that was kind of in that world of independently done, people making their own movie their own way sort of thing. You know what I mean? Nobody telling them what to do. We didn't want anybody, oh no, you got to say this instead of that. And there you got to take that scene out there, and replace it with this, instead of having him, riding a bike, let's put him on a scooter. You know what I mean? And like, they just change stuff like that for whatever reasons, like we didn't want anybody telling us how to make our movie, man. And so we just went for it our own way. We had some, like I said, some really good I spent a crazy amount of money on it. I had some really good friends put in some money as well. And the locations just kind of fell into place for us.
The scenery is beautiful.
Some of those drone shots.
Most of that was shot out in a place called Shelby Forest area of Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. It's like on the north side of town. It's right along the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River comes, Memphis is on the edge of the Mississippi River, and you cross the bridge and you're in West Memphis, Arkansas. And so you're in a whole other state when you cross the river. So it borders the river. But it's just a little north of downtown Memphis. And there's a general store out there. The guy who plays the deputy in the movie, alongside Jerry Lawler, the sheriff, the deputy is the guy who actually owns the general store and runs it, works behind the counter, and he's that kind of crazy character in real life, man. In fact, that scene, he was very tame. He's real, like, lively, cool. His name's Doug Ammons. Him and his wife Kristen, they're just awesome people, and that store is just one of the coolest places in the whole area, man. Justin Timberlake grew up like less than a mile down the road from it, right? And he went to school right across the street from it. And the church scene that you see, the preacher is Justin Timberlake's father, Randy Timberlake.
I said Randy Timberlake. I was laughing about the name.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that church is actually where Justin grew up going to church at, and his father was a music minister there, and his grandfather was a preacher there, I believe. So it's all, Memphis has like this rich history of music and stuff, and but that general store is right in the smack dab in the middle of all that. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's as real as it gets. If they're living there and their whole life's there, then they start acting there. You can really tell.
So yeah, I mean, you mentioned Memphis a couple times. You already mentioned Jerry the King Lawler. How did that happen? I mean, I know he's a Memphis legend, and music's a big deal, and wrestling's a big deal in Memphis, or at least it was. Can you talk about Jerry a little bit?
Yeah, it still is a big deal here. Yeah, man, Jerry and I met probably. It's hard to pinpoint it because I've had such a crazy, wild career that time isn't something, and dates is not something I really remember very well. I remember what years my albums came out, but that's there's a couple of things that I do remember what years they are. But Jerry and I met on the golf course. I'm thinking probably 10 years ago or so.
Wow.
He was me and a group playing in front of him, and he kind of caught up to us. He's waiting to tee off, and I saw him sitting down there. I was like, I recognized him because my buddy Lil Hollywood, who's in a lot of my music videos and was in my group for a long time, wrestled with Jerry and Jimmy Hart and Jeff Jarrett and all those guys.
Right on.
And so I knew they knew each other, and I was good friends with Lil Hollywood. So I went over to him and introduced myself, and I said, "Hey man, my name's Muck Sticky, I'm a musician." Oh, and he goes, "Oh, hey man, I know who you are. I took this girl, I was taking this girl to a wrestling show one time, man, and all she wanted to do was talk about Muck Sticky this and Muck Sticky that." And I'm like, "Dude, you're hanging out with me." So I know who you are. And so we ended up playing the rest of that round of golf together. And then we would see each other at different events around town, fairs and things like that. And then when we got to casting the movie, like I said, I'd seen him, a dozen times or so throughout, the years. And he would tell me that same story every time too. He's like, "This chick, man, all she do is talk about most things." And so we got ready to cast the movie. We're like, let's make it all Memphis people and get, some famous, I'll call them some of my famous friends. And I kind of know Jerry Lawler. And so I reached out to him and I'm like, "Hey, Jerry, we're making a movie. Would you maybe be in it? It'd probably only take like a day to film your role, film your scenes or whatever." And he was like, "Sure, I'd love to be in it." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's fucking cool shit." So we met and went over the script and we became really good friends and filmed that scene. Actually, we haven't become really good friends. I sent him the script and he read it and we met once and talked about it. And then he came over and we literally had like 5 hours to get his scene shot. And we had to shoot 2 scenes here at my place. And then we had to drive 45 minutes out to the general store.
Okay.
And stop and get something to eat in between. And so, and he was just such a pro. We got it done. And when we were out there filming the parking lot, there was like school was letting out, Justin Timberlake's middle school was letting out, and buses were driving by and people were screaming. And we were having such a hard time getting it shot, man. But he was such a pro. He knocked it out. And then last year, of course, we had premieres and stuff and became friends after that. And last year, he called me up and was like, "Hey, man, I'm having some issues getting my Saturday morning wrestling show, Classic Memphis Wrestling, edited and sent to the TV stations. It's basically just like ripping old DVDs and stuff that I have and taking old files and compiling it into a show and, producing it and whatever and putting it on TV." And so I have a production company. Excuse me, let me take a sip of something real quick here.
For sure.
So I started producing Jerry Lawler's classic Saturday morning Memphis Wrestling, man. And it was really cool, because I grew up watching the stuff and I was a huge fan of Andy Kaufman and that whole, duel, that, big thing. And I just love Memphis Wrestling. And so getting to like produce, Memphis Saturday morning Memphis Wrestling is really cool. It's like bucket list type shit. I did it for a good 6 months, and then he got the gig back announcing for Monday Night Raw.
Right.
And so he stopped producing the show because all his time was devoted to that. He's always out of town and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you still a wrestling guy?
We played golf last Friday. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thursday or Friday.
You still like wrestling? Not so much? A little busy for it?
Is he wrestling? Yeah, he's still wrestling.
Do you still watch wrestling?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched. He gave me tickets to a SmackDown last year. I went, and you know, there's some folks in Memphis who do championship wrestling, and it's like a thing out of Hollywood, but they have a feed here in Memphis. Dustin and Maria Starr, they do this Saturday morning thing, and so it's still popular. It's mostly internet a lot too these days, though. So I watch wrestling's always, part of my world somehow or another.
Right.
In fact, like I said, we went and played golf, and then I went back over to Jerry's and helped him work on a few things for his wrestling website. His website's back up now. You can order wrestling stuff back, by the way. So Jerry's a great dude, man. Though he is really one of the nicest dudes I've ever known, and just like real stand-up guy, real professional, totally deserving of being the king. I'm honored to be friends with the king, man, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great to hear, man. Because sometimes you just, you hear "don't meet your heroes," all that stuff. But it's nice to know that there's some real kings out there.
Man, that's funny you say that, because in my career, I've met two people out of all the people that I've met, celebrity wise, two, maybe three, that I would consider one of those, hey, don't meet your hero thing because of whatever. But I've met a lot of my heroes, man, and they've been really cool folks, man. That's usually how they become heroes, is by being cool folks. You know what I'm saying? So, if your artistry, you try as an artist, at least I try to match my life with my art as much as possible. Now, of course, embellish some stuff. I'm not still like pissing in parking lots and flipping off cops everywhere I go. Maybe some, but
right. That's awesome.
I think art is a cool thing. It's a free. It helps you liberate yourself in your mind and in the world. I don't know. Art's such a cool thing. I think it should be cherished, and our artists should be appreciated. I appreciate all the artists that I look up to, and I have a lot of personal friends who are artists that I'm such big fans of what they do. In fact, there are people that I meet and am friends with before I see their art, and I become a fan of their art because I like them as a person first.
Right.
Post Malone is that way, man. One day I met Post Malone, I had heard one song maybe, and I went to introduce the Flaming Lips at Beale Street Music Fest here in Memphis, and Wayne, the singer of Flaming Lips, was like, "Hey, let's go watch Post Malone play after this." And so, because he was playing on another stage at the different end of the festival, and so me and Wayne, his wife Katie, and some friends of theirs, we got on a golf cart. We went down and watched him play, and I'd never heard his music. I was like, "Oh, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty talented dude." And then we went up in his trailer and hung out for a few, and then they left. Flaming Lips left, and I was just left there by myself with him and his crew. And he invited me to come hang out on his bus and through football, and had races and stuff. It was a lot of fun, really fun night. Hung out for like 5 or 6 hours the first night I met him. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really know his music before that night. And it was the night Beer Bongs and Bentleys went #1. And his mom was there. I met her, and she's a really cool lady. And so I kind of became friends with him before I really knew his music too well. And then I started listening to his music, and I became more of a fan. And in fact, he's one of those dudes that, I'm telling you, he's very deserving of his success, man, because he's such a nice, considerate dude. He's really gives a shit about people. You know what I'm saying? And that's an important thing in the world, is giving a shit about people.
And he's a mega star at this point. He's
he could not give a fuck, and he does. He still does. Still acts like a normal dude. Hangs out with all of his homies. Brings all of his homies on tour with him. and it takes time, to sit and talk to people. Like we had a good, like 45-minute conversation amidst all this chaos at one of the last shows I hung out. I mean, I've been to, a couple dozen shows now, and we'll sit and just talk while there's all this shit going on. We'll sit and listen to you and talk to you and have a real, I've met some superstars who are just like robots. You almost feel like they're not even listening to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? He's totally in tune and aware kind of dude, man. Super cool
he's
dude.
a funny dude. I've seen him in interviews and on podcasts and stuff, and yeah, he's a very, very funny guy. Makes sense that you guys would hit it off.
I mean, if in all honesty and looking at it, if I weren't me and looking at it, I wouldn't think it. But that's what I was saying earlier about meeting different people in life and being open to meeting and interacting with different kinds of people, because you learn a lot of different stuff by not just hanging out with the same people all the time, and I'm that way with a lot of different folks. I have my best friend is a 63-year-old plumber. You know what I'm saying? Best friend in the world. 63-year-old plumber, gray hair, looks like Willie Nelson. You wouldn't, by looking at us, you wouldn't think, hey, those two dudes are best friends. You know what I'm saying? But his name's Ricky. He plays the farmer in Zebo in the movie. Like when when the boss walks back to talk to the dude that's riding up on the 4-wheeler or whatever, he's the guy on the 4-wheeler. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So this might be a hard question. It might be an easy one, but do you have any favorite songs of your own or music videos that were particularly just kind of stuck with you for any reason or another?
Man, that's tough. People ask that a lot. What's your favorite song? And my standard answer is, well, that would be like asking me which one of my kids is my favorite if I had kids.
That's a good way to put it.
Because I do treat my music kind of like my kids. A lot of people focus on all the things they don't like about life, including people and whatever. I grew up in a place where it's predominantly people talked about what you hate and the people you hate, and but my philosophy is, why would I tattoo, if these are my kids, why would I tattoo, these are going to be here forever. Even my kids, if I had children, they would eventually pass away one day, but what I put on them or what I put into them is, will last forever. So this, like my children, if I talk about my haters or the people I hate or things I don't like in life, then that would be like tattooing them with those things. And so I do treat them as my kids in that respect. But it's funny you say that. Like videos, one of the most fun videos we made was the Gobbledygook video, because we got to take over the Summer Drive-In, which is this drive-in movie theater in Memphis where I grew up as a kid going to drive-in movies, and saw my first drive-in movie there.
Nice.
Snuck in there countless times in people's trunks. I grew up going there, so to get to like take it over and make a music video there is such a cool thing. And plus the skit we did, me and the guy John Pickle, who is a super funny, talented actor guy, and creator of Pickle TV. We took that thing over and I was a big fan. I've always been a big fan of Hunter S. Thompson, so to kind of recreate our own sort of version of that mythical legend that he is.
Yeah.
Was very cool. That one sticks out first and foremost. The Thingy Thing video was a blast to make. I didn't realize that it was going to be what it was at the time. It was the band, that house. There's a rock band, pretty famous rock band called Egypt Central. They've come back recently, but they weren't around for a long time. They spawned the band Devour the Day. These are big rock bands.
Yeah.
And that was at their band house. In fact, when we kind of peek in the room, that's the lead singer, John, in the room with the girl, and he's like, "Go away, go away." You know?
Okay.
But that was at the Egypt Central Band House in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a real popular hangout spot, and I knew all those dudes well. We played a bunch of shows together, and so that was a fun video to make. One Day at a Time was a fun one to make because that was the first one that I really put my mom and my sister in, and we
you
shot
really
a lot of that
include
in
them a lot.
Florida. What's that?
You really include them a lot. I really like that. You really your music and
Yeah.
your movie ingrained with them.
Yeah, they've been part of my life my whole life, you know, and so
Yeah.
just to put them as part of the art, you know, it seemed just, you know, a natural thing. Art imitates life, life imitates art, you know. So
Yeah.
we just try to kind of merge ourselves, because I think if you make it too different, you know, then, you know, you got to put on a show. And like, I believe life is a show, you know, and so if you put on a show, let your life be that show, you know. And of course, I've done some stuff in my music and career that I'm not so proud of. Like if I were to have some kids and they were to do some things when they were teenagers, I'd be like, "You naughty kids, I'm not so proud of you right now." You know, so of course we've all done that, you know.
Right.
But for the most part, man, like all the music videos and stuff I've done, I've had a lot of fun doing. And I don't know. Live This Life was a fun video to do. I was watching that the other day. That song has got a lot of good, and you know, I wrote that song at a good time. I was writing some pretty good things right around then and before then. Those couple albums before that were really good, Fantasterific and Brain Named Itself and stuff. So that was a fun video. I remember putting the big smiley face thing on. I don't remember how I came up with that concept. But anyhow.
But yeah, they say don't forget your roots, and you really are a shining example of that, I'd say, with, you know, making the movie how you did,
For sure.
making the songs how you do it. Yeah, don't forget your roots is definitely something you kind of embody 100%.
I'm glad to hear you say that, man, because you know you always you want to make sure of that, you know, and thinking that you do is one thing, but other people acknowledging that you do is a good thing too. So
Right.
I appreciate that. That's kind of you to say.
Everyone needs a little affirmation.
Sometimes I forget, you know, and I'll make some songs and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll look back on them like, yeah, what was I thinking trying to make, you know, making that song? But a lot of times music's an inspiration. And so if I hear something, I'm like, hey, I really like that song. It makes me feel good to listen to that. I want to make a song that's kind of like that, or it's in that sort of world of, then I'm going to make it, you know?
Right.
And, you know, it may not be as quirky or as funny as some of my stuff, or as totally muck sticky as it should be, you know, but that's my prerogative, man, you know. And like that in itself is like what artistry is about, is doing what you think is what you should be doing, not what anybody else thinks you should be doing.
Yeah.
You know. And so if you come from that place of like, I want to make this because I want to make it, then you'll always stay true to your roots, you know. And so that'll always ring true. And boy, I can't wait for the new music to come, because these days I'm in a good space. I've been making some good stuff, and I've got a lot of leftover stuff from the last album that I didn't include. So I've been coming back, putting those back in, and man, it's all starting to come together really good, man. Really, really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to that for sure. But yeah, so we're getting pretty close to an hour. Is there anything, any last things you want to share? Any, you know, final parting words of wisdom? Anything? I mean, you're very inspirational. You've been saying words of wisdom this whole time. But anything else in particular you'd want to, you know, share?
Man, you know, just for anyone that's, you know, having a tough time in life, or feeling unsure or uncertain or scared, just recognize that life is everything. If you think about that, life is everything. It's the good and the bad. It's the light and the dark. It's the right and the wrong. And all of it is in life. And so if you sort of have that understanding and you sort of look at life that way, you're able to deal with things in a much better way, and instead of getting caught up in certain things. That's just kind of the way I've lived my life, and if I can inspire anybody else to kind of do the same thing, man, like don't get so caught. You're still gonna. I still do all the time. Yeah. Nobody's perfect. It happens to me regularly, but try not to let it last too long. That's the key to it. Is like try to do something that brings you back to your true self. So be your true self.
That's awesome. But yeah, well, Muck Sticky, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
You're a blast to talk to. Very good stories.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me, man. My pleasure. Anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Yeah, we'll definitely
keep up the good work, man. I like that tie-dye shirt too, by the way.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Represent fresh. Illinois.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank y'all for doing what you do, man. Keep the good vibes circulating amongst people, man. You guys are doing a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Be safe. Take care of yourself.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good one, Muck.
Peace out.